Hey everybody, it's Missy bringing you another layout for the Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2015 December Hip Kits again for this page, and I'm going to be scrapping this cute picture of my daughter in the pool from a few years ago. And I'm going to start with these Heidi Swapp Mistable tags, and I've chosen two that I'm going to use for layers behind the photo, and I'm going to use the magenta and the golden wheat shimmers that come in the color kit this month. And I've got some water and a brush, and I'm just going to give them a little stir and just paint on the tags. Nothing fancy here, and I just wanted to give them some color. And I'm not going to paint the center of the tags because the picture is going to cover that. So I don't want to waste any paint that I don't have to. So yeah, these tags, you can pretty much use any type of mixed media on them. It takes the paint really well, and I didn't put any gesso or anything like that on it first. And since the photo's already got some aqua blue color in it, I wanted to focus on the yellow and the pink for my layers behind the picture. And so I'm going to let these dry, and when they dry, they're so sparkly and shimmery. So I'm not going to take the heat gun to them because I've got some other stuff that I'm going to do, so I'm just going to let those dry. So I want to put my picture down here in the lower left hand quadrant of the cardstock because she's looking up at an angle, and so I had an idea, and I'm going to use a lot of those Heidi Swapp rub-ons that are in one of the kits this month. I can't remember which kit, but this is the pack of rub-ons, and there are a ton on this sheet. So I traced around my picture so I know where it's going to be, and I wanted the idea of like confetti kind of just shooting across the page, and so it kind of looks like she's looking at the confetti because she's looking up at an angle. And so I take some time to just scrub. I'm not scrubbing. I guess I'm scrubbing. That's not the technical term. Rubbing. Hello, they're not scrub-ons. Did I invent a new word here? Rub-ons, and I'm going to do a lot of them. I use almost the entire sheet, and so I don't film the entire thing because it did take me a while. But I do cover a lot of that area. And there you can see, I love how that looks. I think it's really cute. And I used the stars, the hexagons, the circles, and I just made it kind of like a burst of confetti. And, you know, like a starry night or something along those lines. And I pulled out one of the Project Life cards, and I'm going to use that as a layer as well. And the tags are dry, and I'm just kind of deciding how I want to layer those. I do want to add a little bit of mixed media work behind the photo and the layers, and so I just pulled out a gelato here, and it's kind of an aqua color. I wanted to pull in more aqua since the tags are yellow and pink. I wanted a little more aqua behind all of that, and it's very subtle. It's not too dark. I'm just using a gelato with the packaging technique here. And now I'm going to take my water brush and I'm going to darken up some areas of it, and I'm just directly applying the gelato onto the cardstock and then using my little water brush there to smudge it around. I'm sorry if I sound stuffy. I've had a major sneezing attack here in the last 2 hours, and hopefully it won't happen while I am talking into this microphone. So I'm just going to keep playing with the gelato and the layers here to see what you can see once I put my picture down. I just kind of wanted the watercolor look to, you know, come from behind the edges of all of the layers there. And I didn't want to do a lot of covering of the right side because of all of the rub-on work that I did there. And actually, rub-ons repel or resist mixed media stuff, especially when it's just something thin and watery like gelatos here. It rubs right off of the rub-ons, and so it won't cover it. So I know that that's what I want my tags to look like behind the picture, so I'm going to go ahead and stick those down and get all of that organized so it's there. And I'm loving how this is looking. I really love those rub-ons. They went on really well onto this cardstock. All right, so I decided I needed a little bit of a darker color behind everything. And so this is some of my other shimmers paint from my stash, and this is an Inklings, and it's called Blue Lagoon. And as you can see there, it's a little darker teal color, and you don't need a lot, you need just a little bit. And I'm just taking the plastic and kind of sticking it under there and smudging it around after I've already applied it with the brush. It just helps it to smudge a little more, in a watercolor effect. Because sometimes when you use a brush, it's more of like a brush stroke. And I didn't want it to look like a brush stroke. I wanted it to look more like watercolor. And I wanted it to be a little lighter. And so when I use the packaging, it kind of smudges it around. And you can see there it wipes right off of the rub-ons. And so that's the look that I was going for. A little bit just of, smudgy paint coming out from behind everything. I didn't want to take up a lot of the paper with mixed media on this one because I wanted the focus to be all of those little rub-ons. So I'm going to take some cord from my stash because I always like to add that to my tags because I just feel like it gives them a finished look. And so I'm take a minute to do that. And you could do this with thread or floss, or you could just leave them open. Just depends on what you prefer, but I love the way that the cord looks there in the tags. So this is some gold metallic thread from my stash. I know I use it a lot, and I just it's very hard to get it, well, it's not hard, but it's I have to work at it to get it to look like I want it because the texture of it doesn't want to loop and bend as much as the cotton thread, and so I have to kind of work with it some. Now I play with this thicker here, and I know it's what I want to use, but at this point I wasn't quite sure where it was going to go. And that's going to be the title of this page. It's just going to be beautiful. But before I decide that, I'm going to fussy cut out this flower, and it's on one of the Project Life cards. And I just think the colors matched perfectly, and it was the perfect little embellishment to add to the right there on the photo because there's a lot of open space on the picture. And so I'm going to have that flower go right there. And I know that's kind of random because this layout really has nothing to do with flowers. I mean, she's in the pool, but it didn't bother me. I like the way it looks, and I like the color pop. Now, these little Heidi Swapp, I want to call them Post-it notes, but they're like little notepads. I love them. They've got the glitter on the end there on these hexagons, and I'm going to use them as layering pieces. And here I go again playing with this thicker. And again, I'm not quite sure. I want it to go right there. I didn't know if I wanted it to go straight or if I wanted to curve it. These thickers are really, really bendable. So you can, make them into an arch or you can make them straight. Just depends on the look you're going for. And I decided to stick it right there. And it's gold glitter. And so I wanted to add, a couple of other things. And my camera's moving by itself. I apologize for that right there. Where I hook it above me, it's starting to get loose, and so it's getting hard to keep it straight. I need to do some operating on it to get it a little more sturdy. Okay, so this is something else in the kits these month, these cute little wood veneer stars, and you get a ton of them in that little bag. And I'm just using my tweezers and my quick dry glue here, and I'm just going to stick several of them down into the mix of all the rub-ons there. Since they're star rub-ons, I wanted to add in some 3D stars here. And I am going to wind up coloring them, but I color them after I glue them down. I'm going to add another one of those glittery hexagons there. So I've got some gold elements going on throughout, the top, the bottom, as well as the title. And this is one of the little chipboard sentiment stickers from Studio Calico. And I decide that I'm going to color those little wood veneer stars gold. And so I pulled out some of the gold Heidi Swapp Color Shine. I believe that came in last month's, November kits. And I'm just using a little teeny tiny brush, and I'm just going to brush it right on top. And I give them a couple of layers just to make it even more gold and more sparkly. And that worked really well. And I didn't add any gesso or anything. I just directly painted right onto the raw wood there, and it worked out perfectly. I did want to add a little bit of detail up to the top here because it's just so white. I wanted to, add a little something more to the top. And so I cut a little bit of one of these Studio Calico papers, and the aqua stripes in the paper match the aqua in the rest of the page. And so I'm going to add a little bit of gold detail. And this here is another one of those little Heidi Swapp, there I go again, Post-it notes, for lack of a better term. They're not sticky, but they're the little notepads. And these are little labels, and they're trimmed in shiny gold, and they're perfect for little layering, things like this, I think. And then to bring in some of the color and to echo some of the shapes of the rub-ons, I'm going to add in a couple more up here at the top. When I first opened the kits and I saw this big pack of rub-ons, I thought, what am I going to do with all of these rub-ons? There's so many. I'll never use them all. And then for some reason, this idea just popped into my head, and I thought, oh, that would be kind of cute. And I love how it turned out. And what do you know? I've almost used all of the rub-ons. That tends to happen with me. I always say I'll never use that piece, and what do you know? I wind up using it somehow. I did a little bit of gold stitching there with my machine, and I did a little bit of stitching through those hexagons. It's really hard to tell. I didn't do a whole bunch of stitching on this one. I just didn't feel like it needed it, and there wasn't a lot of places to do it, I guess you could say. I did want to echo the gelato and the watercolor up at the top. So I just added a little bit of faint aqua gelato and some watercolor. Because whenever I make a cluster like this at the top or the bottom or in a corner, I like to echo all of the color that I've used throughout the page. And so that's what I'm doing here. And I'm bringing back in some of that Blue Lagoon from my stash again, just to give it a little bit of darker shadowing in certain places. One more thing to add up at the top, and that is thicker, and I'm going to go with the heart just because I wanted to, echo that from the title, and so that is the perfect spot for that. And the last thing that I'm going to do is come in with my T-square ruler, and I'm going to add some lines in my journaling. And I did use up the rest of the Heidi Swapp gold that I sprayed onto the plastic when I painted those stars. I did use a brush to kind of do some more splatters across the page. It's very faint because the brush was so tiny, so the splatters are really tiny. So I did not waste that, because wasting gold color shine is against my policy. I cannot waste that stuff. I love it. And that's the final layout. I really like how it turned out. I really love those rub-ons. I think this is a great way to use them up and to get a really unique and fun look on your page. And I use minimal pattern paper. I think I just use the paper at the top, and that's it. So here's the close-ups. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had so much fun putting it together. Let me know if you had any questions about any of the products or any of the techniques or anything that I may have forgotten to say. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.